For centuries, art through the Middle Ages was characterized almost completely by religion. Byzantine art of holy figures lined church halls. Apocalyptic Christian sentiments, fears of a world-ending event are shared through Gothic art. Mannerism's emphasis on style develops into the grandeur and drama of Baroque. But I want you to imagine you're alive in the 1600s. These grandiose, ostentatious art forms are pulsing through the veins of European society, and they all meet your eye. But suddenly, you see this. It's fruit, wine, a cello, a table, a flower. You're seeing the ordinary, the unmoving. You're seeing still life art, but how do you feel? Since its early appearances in ancient Egyptian tombs and ancient Greek vases, still life art has been an acutely appreciative art form. It observes the literal and figurative fruits of day-to-day life. It is something that, at its core, ignoring the religious undertones, plays to our mind's desires in a very distinctive way. A word that you could use to describe the feeling is warm. This can be attributed to color, both the abundance of color in these paintings, as well as the particular choice of color. If we take a look at this piece of still life work by Jan Davies Dahim, we can zoom in on the subjects of this painting, and focusing on the dominant colors, we observe this. Sight is something that is everything. For those of us fortunate enough to have it, it is our most abundant sense, and with that comes the immense effect it has on our psyche. A 2020 survey asked participants from 30 different countries what different colors mean to them. Red was love, blue, relief, green, growth, yellow, joy, orange, also joy. In comparing the survey's results with the dominant colors in Dahim's painting, Still Life with a Lobster, we can identify the emotions we associate with the shades of these subjects. There is loveliness offered by the dazzling red of the lobster. There is joyfulness gifted to us by the warm autumn yellows and oranges of the fruit. And there's also the natural sense of beauty that only green could provide us. But why do these colors mean these things to us across culture and geography? If we look at red, worldwide it is a sign of romance and love, but red is also blood, violence, and war. It's interesting how a color can represent two opposite ends of the spectrum of human emotion, but really love and blood come from the same place, which is passion. If we inspect cultural nuance further, in the US, red took a bit of a nosedive in popularity during the Cold War because red translated to communist asshole back then. And in Korea, writing someone's name in red is a death threat. But there is still something deeply biological and evolutionary about color that I think further explains the feeling you get when looking at still life art. The process of building the sense of color and affinity that we have towards some and not others at different ages is a fascinating area of study. It's pretty common knowledge that newborns only see in black and white and in blurred vision for about the first 4 months of their lives. But thereafter, their perception of color is developing, which is why bright colors are so often used in early life. It's a new world as their eyes develop, and that's why babies stare. They are seeing something they have never seen before. This is why Cocomelon is so, I'll say, appealing to young people, because it is so simple for them to grasp, but also highly colorful so they can build the parts of the brain that focus on memory and differentiation. So this means that the bright, warm colors of still life are sort of nostalgic. The colors bring out the joys of nostalgia. They are so exaggerated and so bright and childlike. They're reminding us of the new world that we experienced when we were so young. They remind us of the exciting, no responsibility, late afternoons when everything was a mystery. Still life puts the ordinary in the spotlight, but it does not glamorize it. It's a tool to instill appreciation within those who view it, and it's a reminder that what is ordinary to us now is the same as what used to be so novel back then, and that is why still life makes us feel like that. The lighting of still life is mild. It's unobtrusive, yet also the key to how this art earns the reaction it gets from us. At large, the lighting is directional, warm, and soft. It creates a sort of halo effect on the subjects, and in turn draws us to them. But I could hardly call the lighting something that makes me feel good. The hypothalamus, which is a part of our brain, is a key player in the sight to emotions pipeline. Essentially, when light hits our eye, it sends a signal to our hypothalamus to release a chemical, a hormone, which can affect us in various ways. For example, warm tones like reds produce melatonin, the hormone that makes us tired. Cortisol, the hormone that we release when we see blue and green light, wakes us up in the morning. In fact, a huge component of seasonal depression is a lack of blue and green light in our light diets. So when observing still life, I'd argue that a common theme is warm and hazy lighting. Warm and moody. Directional. So this plays into our production of melatonin. It reminds us of the sun in later hours. The subjects are basked in light from one side, as the sun basks the earth on late afternoons. The light, it harkens back to the late afternoons of your childhood specifically, and unlike the color, it doesn't really have much brightness to it. It reminds us of when we had to go in, stop playing, do things that you didn't want to do. A feeling that, if you think on it too long, expands into a greater, more existential thought. The thought that the sun is setting on your youth. The sun is setting on the times in your life when you could play, do the things you wanted to do. Times when you were unquestionably, obliviously happy. And now the light is getting low, and time is ticking at a pace that you can't keep up with. It's becoming dark now. You need to go in. You need to stop playing around. Subjects of still life are often surrounded by voids of brown, grays, and blacks that are a vastly paradoxical backdrop of the typical bright subjects. Unlike warm colors like orange and yellow, which represent joy, brown reminds us of disgust, grays of boredom, and blacks of death. The juxtaposition of color and the empty void is where our emotions get muddled with still life. The genuine and clear appreciation of everyday life is on full display, but also in front of a background of death. Darkness, black, void, is scientifically and evolutionarily frightening to us. We weren't always at the top of the food chain, and darkness was a sign that those above us were out, stalking, waiting for us. Darkness is the visual way we discern the unknown from the known, but darkness is also not ignorable. As kids, we banish darkness with light, and as we age, we only replace darkness with the comforting nothingness of sleep. Comforting nothingness. This will sound strange, but have you ever gotten a thought, an urge to jump into oncoming traffic, or jump off a high place? Mind you, this is very separate from being suicidal. This is a science-based phenomena called l'appel de vide. A 2012 study done by the Journal of Affective Disorders surveyed around 500 undergraduate students who had never had suicidal ideations, and half of them said they felt this urge, and I'm sure those of you watching can agree. L'appel de vide, or the call of the void. This phenomenon happens quickly and is almost always repressed immediately, as the reality of it is quickly realized. It's kind of a disgusting thought. It's an empty thought. It is undeniably a trick that your mind plays on you. Research has shown it's a convoluted response to adrenaline and your fight or flight, but it also displays a fundamental human idea. As much as we are terrified of the unknown, the void, we are inexplicably drawn to it. Not in the way that we want it, but in the way that we are fascinated by it. So why do the artists play into this? Why the contrast? It is something at the core of still life. It's the idea that still life is a snapshot. It is a single moment where the sun is setting, basking the fruits of life in light, reminding you to appreciate what is there. The food on the table, the bright colors, the vividness, the lavishness that is available to you right now, in the moment. When what's good and bright and warm is the subject. It's the focus before it's engulfed by darkness. This piece by Giovanni Garzoni has a fly at the center of it, a fly which embodies imperfection and therefore an appreciation of it. Paul Cézanne's famous piece contains a skull, a direct reminder of death, the unknown, the nothingness, while still keeping warmth in focus. And perhaps most directly, William Clay's piece portrays lavishness through goblets and fancy platters, but brings focus to a watch at the center, a reminder of fleeting time, and a warning against too much time spent on acquiring material wealth. The point is that still life is supposed to make you feel separate ways. It's supposed to make you appreciate what you have, while also enticing you to look at the void that you are trying to fight against. So I hope I've made still life's allure more tangible today. I hope I've accentuated the warmth and brightness of its colors and respected the darkness that is ever present in these beautiful works of art. These paintings mean a lot to me. They are, simply put, normal life encapsulated in a single frame. Hopefully, they're a reminder to respect the ordinary. Still life is a snapshot, and let it be a reminder to you to not let the sun go down just yet. Next time you feel any sort of sorrow or nothingness, the void, remember that even if you can't keep up with time, you can always look at fruit. Hey, thank you guys for sticking around if you got to this point. I've been working really hard on these, and especially this one. It was such a personal tangent, but I thought it was interesting to share. So yeah, I'm super pumped to make it more, and please like and subscribe if you enjoyed. It's so appreciated. Yeah, bye.